Men should not be emotional. All the time I'll see videos like, oh yeah, men should be in touch with their feelings and men should just, oh, you should just do what you feel like, bro. Life is too short to be disciplined. Bro, oh my gosh. The guy who is overly emotional is the guy who can't control what he does. He's the guy who's in an abusive relationship because he can't control his anger. He's the guy who goes out to a bar and gets in a bar fight because he gets so pissed off. He's the guy who overindulges in instant gratification because he can't have the discipline to do the things that are required of him, to go to the gym, to eat clean, to do all the right habits. I used to play baseball and I was pretty talented. I was pretty good at it, but something that I always struggled with that was especially a huge deal with baseball is that I would strike out or I would make a bad play and I would just start getting all in my head. I start getting so angry. And because of this, I would get in such a negative mental loop that I would make it hard to actually make plays, right? When I'd strike out once, I'd go and strike out 2 more times in the game. And it's because I was so emotional. Think about Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar. Do you think they were always doing what they felt like? Do you think Alexander the Great felt like getting up every morning, leading an entire army, running into battle? No, of course he didn't feel like it. Because they had empires to build, they had people to conquer, they had battles to go win. Think about Tom Brady, for example. Do you think he became the greatest quarterback of all time because he would just say, oh yeah, oh, I don't feel like going to the gym today. Oh, I don't feel like going to the field and getting work in today, so I'm just going to stay in my house and play video games. No, of course Tom Brady didn't think like that. Tom Brady would train, would do everything he had to, regardless of how he felt. So what's the main takeaway from this video? What's the message I'm trying to convey? When deciding what you should do, as a man, you should always act on logic and not by emotion. What that means is essentially when you're deciding, okay, what do I do today? Do you do the thing that you feel like doing? Oh, eating junk food, oh, skipping the gym. Or do you do the things that you know you have to do? Go get that hard workout in. Go progress on your purpose. Go talk to that girl even though you don't feel like doing it. I was reading the book Meditations by Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, and a passage from it that really stood out to me was where he talked about how, oh, I don't feel like getting out of bed today. I don't feel like doing these things. But is the purpose of my life to be ruled by my emotions, to just do what I feel like, to stay in bed a little extra longer because it's what's going to feel good? No, of course not, because you have to do what's purposeful. You have to do the hard work. You have to delay gratification. You have to do the hard things that are going to, maybe a little more difficult in the moment, but they're going to push you more to becoming your best self. And really quick, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. I'm also not saying you should never, ever show emotions in a healthy way, because I also think there's a very negative thing that's shown where they say, oh yeah, men should never ever show their emotions. I still think you should show your emotions, but just in a healthy way, because if you never ever talk about how you feel or you never ever acknowledge it, it's just going to get all bottled up and then it's going to all explode at once, and that's also really bad. So here's a 2-step process to kind of process emotions in a healthy way that I like to follow. Number 1, you want to talk about the problem in a healthy way. So for example, the guy who has high emotional intelligence, when he has a problem with his girlfriend or when she does something that makes him upset, he doesn't yell at her, he doesn't get pissed off, he doesn't go, oh, you're just so bad and you do this all the time. No, the guy who has high emotional intelligence will bring things up in a healthy way. He'll say something like, hey, I know you probably didn't mean to say that thing that made me upset, but it kind of made me a little bit upset, and I know you probably don't mean to be like that, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know, and I want to figure out how we can improve this. Which leads me into step number 2, focusing on the solution. As a man, you should never ever just constantly complain about why you're upset, complain about what's bothering you, complain about all the things that are wrong in your life. Because if just complaining solved your problems, right, none of us would have problems. But we all do have problems, and it's because complaining alone isn't going to solve anything. There's no reason to complain about how you feel, to complain about something, and not actually take action. So if you're facing a problem, that's why what you have to do is you have to also be focused on the solution. Maybe if you're feeling upset, you're feeling sad. Okay, well, what can I do to be better? Oh, I didn't go to the gym today. Maybe if I go to the gym, that'll help me feel better. Oh, I've been overeating recently, so I'm not appreciating the progress I'm making. Okay, well, I just need to be more conscious on my diet. Because what so many men struggle with is getting in a constant state of negative emotions where one bad thing happens, which leads to another, then another, then another, and it all has to do with the way that you view conflict. The guy who can get out of the rut, the guy who has high emotional intelligence, he doesn't always just focus on the problems. He doesn't always just complain about his problems. He finds solutions and then takes action towards them. So anyways, what you always should do when problem solving as a man is do not act on emotions. Don't always do what you feel like. If you always do what you feel like, you're not going to end up in the best spot possible, because also what you feel like doing has been hooked by food companies, by social media. If you just always did what you feel like, you would just scroll on social media all day. You'd eat junk food. So that's why you can't always do what you feel like. Of course, you should still have fun. You should still display emotions in a positive way, have high emotional intelligence. But as a man, always act purposefully. Do the things that you know you have to do. Be okay with going through some hardship. Be okay with embracing some discomfort if you know it's going to make you better in the end. And always ask yourself the question, what would the best version of me do? And when in doubt, do that. I'll see you for the next video, bro.